Okay, so I wanted to go live since I told a couple of people 2 days ago that I would go live on today to discuss the audio tapes that were released with the detectives asking Chris Watts more detail about what actually happened that day. I had a chance to read the transcript, or what was more like a summary, and I listened to probably about 60% of the audio. I didn't get quite done. I think I had about 20 or 30 minutes left of the audio. But I said I would go on around 8 o'clock, so here I am. What's different between the audio and the transcript that is out is that the transcript is more of bullet points and a summary of the audio. But I will definitely say that the audio obviously gives a lot more detail. And I will also say that this new confession of his just about covered any open holes or any gaps that anyone would have had about the case. So the positive about the interview is that it brings a closure, in my opinion, to this case. And I also want to mention, before I talk about some of the points, that I am going to upload the full version of the audio, not in parts, but in a complete full version. And I fixed the sound so you don't hear that fan or whatever that's going on in the background. So, I'd like to say welcome if you are new, or nice to see you if you've been here before. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat who you are, or if you have any questions as I go over some of the points, in case you haven't heard the audio, or if you were just wondering more, because this is an open discussion. I like it. I like the lives a lot better whenever there's more of a back and forth between people chatting and me speaking, instead of me just speaking the entire time. Okay. I'm going to open this in 2 windows so I can see if people are writing, as well as my notes. Give me 1 second. Hey, Rhonda. You watched a couple of my videos about a month ago? Yeah. Yeah, I ended up having to take quite a bit of a break because this case was really wearing down on me. And so I was like, you know what, I need to take a break for a while. Hey, Christina. I have to move on from this case. After I listen to the audio, I need to start living my life. This has been stressful since the beginning. Yeah, I think it's been stressful for a lot of people just because of the missing information. And yeah, the case definitely brought a lot of closure, because all those questions, like, I feel like the DA did a really good job with gathering their questions, kind of just hit all the points that a lot of people were asking about. And if you didn't see my video, I think I did a video on Tuesday, yeah. If you didn't see my live on Tuesday, I mentioned that I was going to upload very soon about another case that's different from the Chris Watts case. Alright, so on to the points that were highlighted, or that I thought were interesting, is that he said Kissinger knew he was married and had children. He knew Kissinger lied and said she didn't know he was married, which I'm pretty sure we all knew. Or he didn't know, but we all knew that it was a lie. Kissinger was trying to save face. He has not talked to her since his arrest, but he hopes that she hasn't written to him in a different alias that he did not recognize. Which I thought was interesting because they later asked him if he wished that she would call or talk to him. And he did say that he did wish that she would talk at least one last time so that he can apologize. And that he tried to get his attorneys to contact her, but she refused any of the calls. Another detail that I thought was really interesting is that for the month of July, he spent just about every day at her house. And it really shows you what kind of mindset he was in and kind of the control that she had on him, and how the whole situation of him and Kissinger together really got him into a space where he was detached from his family. And he said something in the audio about how it was almost like living in two worlds, where he felt guilty because he was having fun with NK, but then he always knew that he had a family, but he enjoyed not having to be reminded of his family, which I thought was interesting. All right. I thought another point was interesting was how him and Kissinger, how the relationship developed with him and NK versus how it developed with Shanann, talking about how he really had to work hard and pursue Shanann, because she wasn't interested at all. But with NK, it was almost like a given. Like, she pursued him. Yes, total detachment. It's freaky. Did any of you think it was... When I watched the Dr. Phil episode and they had mentioned, you know, it was almost like talking to a neighbor. When I listened to the audio, did anybody else feel quite the same way? Like, it was really weird to hear him laughing and making jokes. You know, I understand the detectives trying to make him feel at ease so that he will give as much detail as possible and not make him feel like he's being judged. But it was really weird and made me feel uneasy to hear him talk about what he actually did to his family and intertwine memories of them, like positive memories of them. Okay, so on another part, going back to NK, he said that he didn't think that she knew that Shanann was pregnant, although she probably found out from Facebook. Hey, Guitar Girly. I remembered this time. The detectives were there to do a job, and that was to get info from him. Yeah. You know what? They almost treated it like a case study, because at the very end of the interview, they asked him all these survey questions, or what were almost like survey questions. What could they have done in order to make him tell the truth on the first time that they interviewed him, and stuff like that. I'm trying to look for what else they asked him. Hold on. I should probably type it in, but I know it's going to make a sound. It's going to be loud, and I know that people get upset when there's banging noises. Anyways, I'll move on. What did you guys think about how he described himself currently? Some of the stuff he says, that he hopes that he can help other people with the time he has left. He's read the Bible cover to cover. I thought the statement that he made was interesting. It's going to take a long time for the guilt to go away. You know, I wonder if, I mean, I wouldn't think that the guilt will go away, but if he has the mindset that eventually over time it would. Christina, I think they were too at ease with him, but I get it. It was just weird, but they knew how to do their jobs better than I would. Yeah. I was really happy that Detective Coder was back, because I feel like he always brings up, or at least in the other interviews he had with him, he always asked very thorough questions, and he seemed like a very detailed person. Too soon to hope to help people now. Yeah, but he seems like, it seems like he thinks that, you know, okay, my real life has ended, but now my prison life, I can create something from it, right? It's like he has a new type of motivation, but I wonder, like, how long is that going to last? He has a long time left in there. And so it seems like he's optimistic that things are going to get better. But yeah, you're right. It's way too soon for him to hope that he's going to help people. Yeah. A weird chain of events to build a platform. Oh, this is the part where they were asking him the survey questions. He said, he believed if we would have lied to him and told him that they saw the video of the kids in the truck, he would have told the truth. And that he only went along with the Shanann scenario because it was mentioned during the interrogation. So he was like, I'm just going to go with it. Another thing that I found really disturbing, I mean, besides the obvious details, but what I thought was really disturbing in there was the fact that he said that when he was attacking Shanann, she didn't fight back, and it was like she was praying. And I just couldn't believe that's what he was thinking she was doing at that moment. What do you guys think? Or what did you think of that statement? Can you guys see me? Let me know in the comments if you can see it, because it went out or it was buffering. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. I can't stand it when that happens. when you're talking and you don't even realize, and then it's like, oh crap, and then you have to go back and resume. It's so frustrating. Sorry about that. But what did you think about him saying that it was like she was praying? I see you, Christina. And Guitar Girly. I really hope it does again. No, it seems to be working. Okay. Another point that he made, I felt just shows his frame of mind, is that he said he did not regret taking a plea deal, but he never thought he'd be in prison for the rest of his life. And I just think the situation that he put himself in, annihilating his whole family, how could you not think that you're not going to go to jail for the rest of your life? Especially, I don't know. I missed a bit of the interview, but it seemed that he cried when telling about the kids and not when telling about Shanann. Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me as well. It seems a little fake on his part about his newfound God. Like he still doesn't want to look like a monster, so he's making the best of his new prison life by finding God. I don't, but that... Oh, the ending cut off. I don't, but that... Oh, I don't buy that is what you meant, right? That's how detached from reality he is. I feel like that's the only way that he can feel like he belongs, you know. Or maybe it's his safe way of... Because didn't he say in the interview that at the other prison, he felt like he was going to be attacked and there was death threats and they were giving him advice on how to off himself. Maybe when he got to the new prison, he thought, you know, I can fit in with this type of group. But I found that to be fake as well. What did you think about the information with Chris admitting that NK has bipolar disorder? Yeah, he did say that the new prison that he's in was better for him and he enjoyed it. I would not... I mean, who's enjoying prison? But at the same time, why would you use that way of describing the new prison? You could have just said he was better off at the new prison, or any other way to describe instead of using the word enjoyed. He also seemed to do a lot of blaming. It seemed like he was saying things like if he had not been with Kissinger, then maybe his path would have been different, or if he had talked to his friends, what was that guy's name? I think it was like Matthew or something like that, or Michael. I think it was Matthew. No, it wasn't Matthew. The one friend that he confided in about the affair. I can't remember his name, but maybe if he had talked to him more about it, he would have, yeah, he has no personal accountability. And he even said in the interview that it was like he didn't even want to believe that he had done anything, and he was trying to lie to himself, which obviously he's still doing. What do you think about the statement he made about saying that it wasn't premeditated, but I felt like I was being controlled, as if like I woke up that morning and the events were just gonna happen and not stop it? What do you think about that? It's all hindsight, and remember, he knew better because he had even given a talk on the subject. I've watched all the most dangerous criminals being interrogated. I've never seen anything like him. It was extremely detailed, and I was just surprised by how did you notice that throughout this whole thing he stuttered one time? And on the previous interrogations he stuttered throughout. But this one, he was very clear on exactly what he was going to say and how he was going to say it. And it did seem like he was open to all the questions. It seemed like he was really, really trying to give them exactly what they wanted to hear. Hey, MZ. Were you here on Tuesday? I feel like I've gone to your profile before. I think it was surprising that he was in the cop shop so soon. I just don't get him. I don't think anyone ever will. He's an odd bird. Yeah, it's when you compare both interrogations or the interrogation with this interview, it seems like he's a totally different person because he had a lot more emotion in this interrogation. And I remember talking on Tuesday about, I wish that there would be video and not just audio, so you can look at his whole body language. But I felt like while I was listening to it, I felt like there was a little bit more emotion there, but at the same time, it was just on certain or specific topics where he had the emotion. What do you think about his mom telling him, don't take the plea deal? You can build a case by saying that you were emotionally abused. Like, I understand that they're pulling on all the strings. His family was probably pulling on all the strings to figure out a way to get him to have a lighter sentence or to not be found guilty. But I felt like that was really reaching. And that there would have been clear evidence that there wasn't any type of emotional abuse really going on. And I know that last time we were talking, somebody had mentioned, he's probably confessing because he's going to commit suicide or he's trying to get people to hurt him, but it seems like he has no inkling of trying to do anything like that. Like initially he thought about it, but his reasoning for not doing it is because he would hurt more people if he had done that. Which again, it leads back to talking about himself. That's his mother trying to save her baby. He is very strange. I don't know what to make of him. His mom has no empathy for Shanann and the girls. When I think about his mom, or when I think about his parents, sometimes I wonder, I mean, based off of the interviews that we've seen of them, you know, they have said some insincere things, insensitive things. However, at the same time, I wonder sometimes if they cut out things that they have said that are nice, or if they're only taking sound bites and articles and stuff like that, where it makes them seem a little bit more cold. But at the same time, how does each family member, whether it's Shanann's family or the Watts' family, how do they really comprehend and comprehend any of this? No, Rhonda, I don't think I agree with you. I don't think he's suicidal at this time either. Yeah, that they didn't show at the wedding and it upset Chris, you could tell. What did he say? His grandma was the only one that went? And what did they not go? They didn't go just because they felt like Shanann was hiding something from them? Was that the reason why they didn't go? Yeah, with the cocaine abuse. Isn't that crazy that he started that because his son decided to leave? And I said this in a previous video, when your child turns 18 and goes off to college, like, you know, you kind of assume that, you know, they're going to be gone, and you kind of have to prepare yourself before they leave. But it really seemed like, I mean, obviously, Ronnie took it really hard. Do you guys wonder at the very end of the interview, I didn't listen to the end of the interview, but when I was reading the transcripts, they asked him if he wanted to say anything to Shanann's family, or to tell them, and he said that he wasn't sure what he would tell them, and he had no intention on telling anyone what he said outside of the police. And then at the very end, the police, or somewhere in there, not the very end, but somewhere, the detectives told him that Shanann's family still thought about him and still cared about him. And he seemed quite surprised about it. But it kind of shows you what kind of family Shanann had, you know. I also found it interesting that they asked him about his childhood again, and he mentioned about being in elementary school, creating stories and trying to trick people into believing that he went overseas. I'm trying to look at my notes again to see what other points. The overseas story is just that story from a kid. He also mentioned times where he felt that, or let me just read this part in here. Chris said, looking back, he realized God gave him plenty of opportunities for him to get out, referring to getting out of his relationship with Kissinger. His friend, oh, that's the guy's name, Jeremy, asked him to go to a Broncos game with him on Saturday evening, and he said no. He should have gone with Lindstrom and told Kissinger he couldn't find a babysitter. Being away from Kissinger might have caused a light switch to go off in his head. If he would have gone to the Broncos game, it may have put him on a different trajectory. He wished now that he and Shanann only went to North Carolina for a week and Shanann wasn't gone for 5 weeks straight. I mean, I feel like it's easy for him to think about, I wish I didn't do this, I wish I didn't do that. But when I read about his mom always trying to get Justin Longstreet, who is Chris, are you new? I've never seen you. We're talking about the Chris Watts case. Yeah, he constantly blamed. I mean, I feel like he blamed everybody except for himself in the beginning. He did say he was guilty in the way beginning, or he felt remorseful in the way beginning of the interview. But I don't remember him going back to it after that. He's definitely still interested in NK, North Korea, because he tried to get his attorneys to contact her, and then he put out, you know, they asked her, do you want us to contact her? And he's like, well, you know, only if she wants to, but yeah, he tried. Only if she wants to. I don't think they even quoted him in the. I don't think they quoted him in the transcript about that part. He'd like to see her one last time. I think even just talking to her one last time, it seemed like he was fishing when he was asking about or stating that I don't think she's written unless she's written through an alias. Like he was trying to fish to see if she was. It's like he has no concept of personal accountability or how to make his own basic decisions. Didn't he even say that growing up in high school, his sister was popular and he just wanted to kind of coast through, to kind of blend in? He doesn't like to stand out. That's why I think with him going the religious route in jail, that's a place where he doesn't really stand out. He said that NK asked him to prove that morning that he was at the site. The introvert. Oops. Uh-oh. Hold on. That was one of the worst things that I've heard. Which part? The one where... Which part? That he was at the site. And what do you guys think about the patches? Oh, that he wants to say sorry to NK. Yeah, he doesn't want to say sorry to anybody else, but that's who he's thinking about. He didn't want to talk to Shanann's family. They asked, but all he wants to really do is make amends. Oh yeah, I thought that was interesting too, Aro. Is that Aro or Arrow? The meaning to the Metallica song, because that song, when you listen to it, is really about rage and whatnot. And the fact that he listened to it because it was her favorite song after he had murdered his family, like, that just baffles my mind. It's absolutely craziness. Yeah. How ironic. What about this whole thing? Because remember when we watched the police videos, the police cams, and he went into their bedroom and he came out with the ring on his finger, like displaying it, you know, like it was a trophy or whatever. He did say that he had taken off her wedding ring and put it on the counter so it looked like she didn't want to fix their marriage and wanted a divorce. Seemed like he had like this movie script type of plan in his brain, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take off the wedding ring, I'm gonna throw the therapy book in the trash, they're gonna think, you know, that she up and left and she got angry. When those two things, many people who watched the body cam videos or heard about the book being in the trash did not even fall for any of that. You think she tried to influence him through music? I felt like her tantrums were weird. I mean, I know that he said that bipolar disorder, but she was being very strange with that, getting mad on July 4th, you know, because he had to go back home and saying, what did she say? I don't want you to come back or something like that. And later on, she called him the same day asking him to come over. Like, that's a lot of, like, mind manipulation. Like, I don't want to see you, you know, leave. But, yeah, come back later. I'm going to call you later. And, like, you better show up. That's a lot. That's a lot to handle. Very manipulative. No, I don't think he's going to kill himself either. This part made me laugh, quite enjoying his day. But it does seem like he is just okay. Going to work in the kitchen. He says they even have weights to use. Kind of cool. Did he really use that word, kind of cool? I didn't get to that part, and that was not in the transcript. They still did not get into his real thoughts about the reasons about the murders. Well, they did say that they would possibly go back to him maybe a couple months later or maybe 2 years later and to ask him more questions, and he said he would be fine with that. They still did not get info. Oh, I read that one. Yeah. He said that, Linda? Oh my God. Like, what does he think, he's in college again? Or living his bachelor's life? That's disgusting for him to say something like that. Oh my God. Yeah, like it's a hotel. I also thought it was interesting that he was reminiscing about you know, the type of foods that Shanann would cook. Spaghetti, and then he mentioned the pizza. Like, that doesn't, you know, if I was him, you know, I probably never eat pizza again, but he still misses the pizza. You know, that doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but like, I couldn't believe he had mentioned that she makes amazing pizza when that's like the last thing he fed his kids. I think NK had total control over him and she totally played him. I'm sure she gave him ultimatum based upon his last card letter to her. You know what? In the audio, because I didn't hear this part, but there is a part where somebody's name is blocked out, where it says somebody had gotten engaged recently. Did they name the person in the audio? Because he said, you know, that's crazy that they got engaged already. Who is that? I feel like if it was NK, they would have just put her name in there. Although, we don't really know anything of what she's doing now. Yeah. The only thing he missed about Shanann was her pizza. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, he did say in here that he wants people to remember her as a loving, caring mother. That was one other positive, but I can't think of anything really, because a lot of it was, you know, she didn't want me to talk to my family. I completely cut them off. We were supposed to visit them, you know, but she booked 5 days at the beach instead. It was a lot of just, it seemed like he was trying to get sympathy, you know. Or one of his jailmates got engaged. That's what it is. He seems to be in the know. He seems like he's fitting in quite well at that new jail. I wonder how Stephen Avery feels about that. He was a what, Yolanda? Going back to Rhonda's, yeah, Linda, I mentioned that earlier, him saying that he didn't think he was going to jail for the rest of his life. I just was thinking, like, how could you not? As soon as I heard that, I was like, would have. Immediately after you annihilated your family, you know. He even said it earlier on in the interview. I knew my life was over, so. But then, at the same time, he's thinking that I'm not going to go to jail forever. Oh, it'll be just a couple years. He's a nut. That explains him completely. He is well aware of his habits of dissociation since childhood. You think his mom knew? He did say something about his mom wanted him to share his feelings or write down his feelings, and he would always express his feelings to Shanann through his letters. But anytime that he had a problem, he wouldn't share them. You think his mom knew, like, growing up, that he was off? That's why they, you know, kind of controlled. I felt like he had so many people talking in his ear. Like, he was never, like, a real person. Like, somebody, was it you, Guitar Girly, or was it, I feel like, or maybe it was, somebody had said last time that he was a robot, basically. Was it Linda? he was never his own person. The fact that he was looking up what it feels like to be in love, he knew he was different. Mom did too. Do you all hear Richard snoring in the background? I hope not. He had a long day at work, and I didn't get home until late either. So, could not, hey Cher, could not listen to these investigators laughing with him. How about laugh with Shanann's family? Disgusting. I think their point in doing that was just to get him talking and not feeling like he's being judged. I'm sure they had a lot to say behind closed doors when they were all together. But it almost sounded like to me that their laughs were just, you know, when you polite laugh, when somebody says something, you know, it's supposed to be a joke, but it's not really funny. That's what it sounded like to me. It didn't seem like genuine laughing. I found it interesting how he said that things didn't really bother him. But then when the police officers suggested to him that everything just bottled up and he exploded, that night he took that on. Did he say that it didn't? Maybe there was a part I missed in the audio versus the transcript. I don't remember hearing that, but in the transcript it didn't say that it didn't bother him. I believe Tammy was stressed. Yeah. Yeah. All cops try to be your friend to get you to confess. Yeah, that was definitely evident in the interrogation with Coder. Remember when Coder was like, you know, I want to be the guy you come to if you have a thought in the middle of the night. You know, I want to be your best friend. Remember that? How can you, little cat attack, how can you talk about this so casually? Me? Oh, okay, I was about to say, you know. No. Sorry, Mehi. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Little cat attack, you were here last time. I remember you. We were saying that earlier that he seemed to only cry whenever hearing about his girls. No, don't apologize. Oh no, am I buffering again? Am I still here? Tell me I'm here. I can't do it shutting down again. Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, good. No, I'm gone? Wait. Okay. Oh, I'm here. Okay, alright. I can't stand this. Have you guys been watching other lives where it just goes away? It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Like, you would think with all our technology that it would not be a problem. Anyway, let me get back to this. Thank you guys for letting me know. After he mentioned Cece and Bella were holding each other, oh my god. Yeah, I remember that part. Protecting each other while he dragged their mother out of the truck. Yeah, that part was really hard. And it was, like, I didn't hear it at first. I read it in the transcript. And then I went and I took a 30-minute break and I had to come, you know, calm myself down. Because I could not believe the monstrosity of it all. Like when I was reading it, I was like, this is legit like a horror movie. The way that he's explaining everything is something that you would see in a horror film. Yeah, he cried whenever he talked about the girls. All interrogation techniques to make him feel more comfortable with telling the truth, but I still think he is lying. It happens. I left Bella, what does that say? The arrow's in the way. He left Bella watching him put Cece in the tank. know, and he said that he wasn't thinking, and the reasoning behind that is because he was angry at Shanann. That's the reason why he did that to his girls. The website, I'll just give you the link. Hold on one second. Sorry, I have to move this to see the bottom of my screen. Hopefully it's not making a banging noise. Is it banging? I hope not. Okay. Here it is. Click on it and let me know if it opens, because I have 2 links up. Oh, that didn't. Oh yeah, it went into a link. Oh, this is fine. You think he was planning the explosion? I don't think he could have done it. Even like it might have crossed his mind. Like, you know, kind of when you're, this is a bad analogy, but when you're packing for a trip, you kind of bring extra stuff you think you might need. But that could have been his mindset in bringing the gas cans. And then when he got there, after that 45-minute drive, he realized that it was a no-go type of thing. His reasoning for not burning anybody was because something else would have caught fire. And his logic of thinking just baffles me. You're worried about all this other stuff because you're worried about how people are going to perceive you, but you're not worried about what you did, you know? It just makes me really upset. It's hard, really. Yeah, I wonder if they ever talk to him again, if some of the details are going to change. If he's going to, you know, tell more, or if he's going to change important sequences. He did say his mom encouraged him to write in jail, but he said that he doesn't, he's not planning on writing anything but Bible verses, basically. But he's not planning on writing anything. And I wonder what her thinking behind that is. What is it to, you know, ease his time in jail to write things down, or in hopes that he would get like a book deal or something? But isn't there a law that prisoners now can't get paid through writing books? Oh wait, I'm missing some stuff, but I didn't scroll down. What website? I still think bullshit. I don't think he was angry. You don't think he was angry at all? You think he just did it for his love of Kissinger? NK is responsible. Also, I don't care what anyone says. She slept in their bed at their house. NK was the reason he was still protecting her. Yeah, I feel like he blamed her at times, because I think he's thinking, you know, that's what people kind of want to hear. And, you know, on Dr. Phil, when they said he could be covering for somebody, I think that's maybe what they meant, that he still is in a way, because he's still infatuated with her, that he sugarcoats what she's, what her involvement is. Or maybe some of the things that she told him, or the conversations that they've had. Atkins put a stop to that. Oh, you're welcome for the link. I'm behind. I'm sorry. Let me get caught up. It was premeditated, and yes, he did plan to burn them, blow up the tanks like a work accident. Oh, that's what it was. In the transcript, it's a bit different. He would have gone back. And why was he on top of her anyway? Yeah, I thought that. You know, I mean, he did say they were romantic, then they went to bed. But, Okay, you're romantic, then you went back to bed. Then you got back on top of her, but you're saying it's not premeditated. What would your reasoning be to get back on top of her when you knew you were about to confess to her that you were having an affair and that the relationship, like, you basically wanted a divorce and you were not compatible? The fact that you got on top of her when you're about to divulge negative information, you know, to me screams premeditation. You knew you knew what you're about to do. There'd be no other reason why you would be on top of her. Hey, LV. Yeah, well, I mentioned it about her bipolar disorder, but we didn't talk about it yet. Did he just randomly jump on her? Oh yeah, I need to catch up. He's born again now, so he has better lies now. Exactly. Why was he on her again? He was toying with her emotions. Yeah, because she definitely thought that they were going to be romantic again, but I mean, obviously not. And he also said that being with her felt weird because he'd been with Nicole so much. Yeah, he wasn't very clear during the jumping on her part. In the back of my mind, I knew I was going to kill her when we were talking. I don't know what to think about that. Yeah, that goes along with the part where he was saying, like, earlier in the day, like, he had no control of himself, basically. He said that something was implanted in his brain that made him do it. Which I feel like a lot of, some of the crime shows that I've watched, I'm like, yeah, I've heard that one before. Like, I feel like that's something that's brought up a lot. I also thought it was interesting that they listed his IQ, and a lot of criminals actually have high IQs as well. It sounds so fake. I'm glad that he gave more detail. I didn't think that they were going to release all of the audio. Although when I put the file together, it was only 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours worth. Did you all notice that? No, I don't think he's sorry about what he did to Shanann. I have not watched Dumb Criminals, but I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, that he knew he just had to do it. Hey, Genuine. Nice to see you again. I know I'm clicking. Sorry if you can hear it. Oh, it's a YouTube channel? No. I'll have to really check that out. I did check out, I can't remember what his name is, but it starts with a D, where he was reading the case file, and I fell asleep listening to his voice. He had a nice voice. I wonder why they didn't ask about the 111 minutes call to NK. They did talk about, at least in the transcript, they did talk about their Skype oh my god, I can't even say that word. Their Skype session, excuse me. No, he completely avoided saying sorry to Shanann's parents. You're right. Yeah, the diplomat. I did check him out. Let me look at the iPad conversation. FaceTime. It's not on FaceTime, iPad. I have to do it the long way. Oh, you know what? I can search up August 13th. Three mentions. It says this about that part. With regards to if Watts spoke to Kissinger after the murders, he spoke to Kissinger on Monday the 13th. He and Kissinger texted and then spoke on the phone. Kissinger said she believed Shanann took off with his daughters. On Tuesday, August 14th, 2018, Kissinger kept asking him weird questions through text message to try and determine if it was really him. Kissinger asked him what his dog's name was and what yoga studio he went to. It was possible Kissinger believed Shanann had his phone and she was making sure. Kissinger told him it was the last time he would hear from her and she was going to stay with her friend Jim. Then she told him to not contact her until this is done. And then she told him to delete everything on his phone. But he didn't delete everything from his phone, and he's not sure, or at least he didn't delete everything from Kissinger on his phone, and he's not sure why. That's what they wrote about that part in the transcript. Later, he tried to say, I think that she said he would not see the children again and snapped. Earlier, they specifically asked him, did she threaten you if you wouldn't see the kids again? And he said no. I don't know why his mind would jump from, I feel like that's his excuse for why he attacked her, was the fact that she said you're never going to see the children again. Because didn't he also say, at that moment I knew there was no hope and that she would take him away, or she would just leave with the children or something like that? So that's why he attacked her. Dangerous Minds is a great channel. She's done an outstanding job on analyzing NK. You know what they didn't touch on? Or at least it's not in the scripts. And maybe it's in the audio, but they didn't touch on the barbecue. I mean, he mentioned the barbecue for a brief moment. But I don't remember them talking about the text messages during the barbecue. Yeah, I think it was premeditated as well. Kissinger is guilty as well. Guilty as hell. One thing about premeditated is that he had been in the neighborhood, in the neighbor's house, to check what Nate could see. Yeah, he doesn't. There's definitely things. I mean, they did tell him before, you can go into as much detail as you want and you can refuse questions. Yeah. Some of the things that he said didn't make sense, like he was... Am I here, guitar girly? I'm back. Thanks, Linda. Does it, whenever it times out like that, does it immediately go back on for you all? Or do you have to like refresh everything? Yeah, they didn't talk about the doll either. I was waiting for that to be one of the questions that they would ask, and they didn't mention it at all. He kept saying he was so angry with her, but what was he angry at her about? Yeah, and I think that's where he put his excuse in about taking the girls. Like, he felt like, he said he felt like it was his only option was to attack her, but because he would never see the girls again. But you don't think that if you get a divorce that you would have some type of, like, you don't want to fight for a child, you'd rather take the easy road out? I don't know if it's easy, but I wonder the exact thing. Then he went on and on about being angry at her about his parents not coming to the wedding. Nutgate. I might use that. I might have to borrow that. Nutgate. I wonder why he killed his wife and not his mother. Page. It says I'm still here. Can you see me? Guitar Girlie said I'm off. I wonder if they have something on here where there's so many people doing lives that they just can't handle it or something. Thank you so much, you guys, for sticking around through all the glitches. It's definitely an annoyance. I think it was planned, but didn't go as planned. Seemed like he was trying to leverage the sloppiness he left behind as him being in a crazy state of mind. I wonder why the dog didn't bark its head off. Yeah, me too. When he dragged her down the stairs. I wonder if he put Dieter in the basement or something. He said in the interview that he told a friend he didn't think his marriage was going to make it. This was on that trip before Shanann went to North Carolina. Oh, is it? Nutgate. To mock Shanann. I don't remember them saying that. But that term they used definitely describes him. They were describing his son. I wondered, you know, when Agent Coder brought up the fact that, you know, do you and your wife, did you two have any arguments? And what was her name? Liz? I can't remember. The other detective that was there said, oh yeah, didn't the neighbors say that they could hear you? And Agent Coder said, oh, that was just exaggerated. And then Chris was like, yeah, we didn't have any loud arguments. I wonder why he cut her off like that. Instead of letting Chris kind of form his own thinking at that point. Yeah, genuine, that was definitely awful. That was an awful point, you know. And then his excuses to them were absolutely just so stupid. You know, I understand that they're, you know, little girls, like babies, but to tell them that, you know, she's sick, she's going to be okay, and then, you know, they asked again in the car, and then the part where Bella asked if she was going where Cece was going, and he was like, I think I stupidly said yes, or something like that. No remorse at all. Tammy, that's the name, Tammy. And then retracted his statement. And Nate was on to him, yeah. He was set up. He had the cameras set up everywhere. And he knew his system. So he helped with an exaggeration. But he knew right away there was something off. You know what? And plus the fact that Chris said that he was barely home in July. You know, they probably were thinking, where, you know, his wife is gone, where is he for a month? Shanann's mom knew right away as well. Yeah. Didn't she give Nicole the permission to go inside the house? Talking to them before he got to the house. Yeah, everybody was on to him. I don't know why he thought any of his lies and excuses would work out, because seemed like every female was on to him and knew that something was up. Plus, you know, the neighbor guy. I thought it was... She talked to the deputy over the phone. I thought it was crazy when Chris kept on saying that Nicole didn't want to be known as the other girl, like, because he was paying so much attention to his wife. But when you're in a relationship with a man who's married, what does she expect? Especially since they were only together supposedly for a couple of months. He had been leaving every night. Nate had been watching. Lots of Nicoles don't do him any good, do they? Didn't he have a bunch of steps recorded around midnight the night before this happened? Yeah, they did. Didn't his phone track his steps? Always wonder what he was doing, and I wish they had asked him. Yeah, because he made it seem like that as soon as she got home, they talked, and they were romantic, then they went to bed, then they woke up, like a long stretch of time. But it seems like the phone data calculating his steps kind of contradicts that. Well, I still say no money, divorce, a no-go. Have you all, I want to ask this question to find out if, after hearing this interview, have you all found some type of closure with the case? still holes. I really wish they would have asked about the doll, though, as well. Still a lying piece of trash. Lots of blanks. I feel like through this interrogation we got, yeah, Shanann had nothing to do with her children's death. But I still have questions. I agree, Linda. Still some unanswered questions. Yeah, I'm glad that through this interview, many of the burning questions that I had, I felt were answered. But there are definitely still a couple of gaps, a few things that I really wish that I would have known. They should make NK take a polygraph. Her lawyers would never allow it. Do you remember he said that he felt stupid talking to the media and that he should have never done it? And he thought if he had any regret, it would have been talking to the media. What about the bra? Guitar girly. They mentioned in the transcript that she went to bed with the makeup on, her shirt, and the bra. And I feel like if it was in the transcript, they probably touched on it a little bit more in the audio. Yeah, you remember when in the interrogation or in the case files, NK tried to tell him to not talk to the media. But it was too late at that point. He had already talked to the media. And then while he was doing the polygraph, another friend of his told him that it's best that he doesn't do a polygraph either. It's like, it was always like he got information too late. After listening to that much lying, I'm convinced we will never know the whole truth. And anyway, he is worse than a monster. But it was a different church he died in. Let me look that up and see if they say something about it. I don't remember them saying there's a difference in the shirt on here. It says, oh, hold on, this is not the right part. Oh, it does. In italics on here, it says Shanann was still wearing her shirt, bra, and underwear she had on when she got into bed. Let me see if there's another part where they mention it too. Shirt is mentioned 31 times. Shanann was wearing a blue. No, it just says shirt. It doesn't even say what color it was. I don't believe she was awake when he attacked her. Yeah, I just find it odd that she wouldn't fight back. But they did say something about her arm being under, the way that he was straddled on her, his knees were on her arms. So in a way, like, she couldn't really fight back. But it just bothers me that because he's on this whole jailhouse religion thing, that's probably why he said it. But when you are doing stuff like that to people, the last thing you could think of is, oh, she might have been praying to me. And then he quoted that Bible verse about being forgiven. And that's her last thought, is that you think she's quoting a Bible verse about forgiveness for you as you're doing that to her. The love shirt was gray. Oh, yes, it was. You're right. He's so full of crap. I think she was on her stomach when she really died. I can't remember if he said in the audio because he did say something about like her turn, or they asked him how he was like, I was trying to get on the side of her, but somehow I ended up straddling her, which I think is so weird. I don't know. I don't know about y'all and y'all's relationships, but I don't know. A guy straddling a woman like that, like what? That's weird. With your knee, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe that's just me. Yeah. Definitely trying to comfort himself to make himself feel like he didn't do any wrong and that he can just ask for forgiveness and everything's going to be okay, basically. That's not how everything works. The praying thing annoyed me too when he said that she might be doing that. Yeah, it did say that. It did say in the autopsy that it didn't, that they weren't intimate. They said that the babies came out when he was dragging her down the stairs. Like he had already wrapped her up and he was bringing her down the stairs and the noise on the stairs woke them up. Straddling her on her stomach at one point. Yeah, guitar girly. That is that just me or is that weird for a guy to do? Also, she was pregnant. She would have been laying face down. Yeah, and like definitely because she was pregnant, why would a guy straddle? Why would a man straddle a woman like that? A pregnant woman. Creepy. Yeah. Oh, and you remember when I thought I felt like whenever he was doing the interrogation, when his dad was in the interview, I felt like his dad knew what had happened. Um, Based on having a conversation in the car. But the way that Chris describes it is that they really didn't hit on the topic. Like his dad asked about it, or he would kind of allude to it, but then the conversation would get dropped and they would talk about other stuff. Guitar girly. I don't know. I don't know if he would have done that. Um, just because of the fact that she's pregnant. Like I think that would have. I don't know. The form of control to shadow her. And I don't understand why when she got home, Chris said when she got home, you know, it was like she already like kind of knew that he was having an affair and that she was kind of the one that brought up the affair. So why would she be intimate with him that night? I don't know. He did say that he thought it was a test. It's a form of control, you're right. Yeah, his dad was ready with the phone, ready with an excuse. It seemed, I think that they talked about it in the car. It's a long car ride. I'm sure they talked about it. And if three members of the family are missing, you're not going to talk about everyday type of things. You talk about where are they? What happened? Why are they gone? Well, what happened before? Did you guys argue? Stuff like that. You're going to talk about everything, not daily things that you already know. Because he was so unclear about Shanann's murder makes me think he did something nasty. Oh, is that an MMA thing? Was Chris into MMA? I don't remember reading about that. About the head so awful. Oh yeah, um, I went to one MMA fight, but they didn't do that. But I've seen that on TV though. I don't know why he would think that her being intimate with him would be a sort of test. Who's testing? And why would there, I don't know, maybe it goes with his numbers thing, his obsession with numbers. Yeah, little cat attack. That's what he said. We were talking about sports. Yeah, right. Not into MMA. I definitely think the conversation with Shanann and his dad were way more emotional and real life than he was saying in the interrogation. Yeah, that seemed to be the biggest thing he was skirting around um, during the first interrogation. And I mean, obviously now it seems like he divulged more information, but not like, I feel like that's one of the areas where we're not really getting the clear picture. Obsession with numbers because of his job, his organization with numbers and being able to recall numbers, being really good at exams, having that type of mindset. And it always seemed like during his polygraph or during his interrogation when he was making any type of metaphors or analogies, he always went back to, percentages and like test type of stuff. Yeah, I've heard that floating around that she was like either she was in the vicinity or that there was a phone number that was linked to his parents, but I mean, I didn't see that. Doesn't mean that it wasn't there. And they didn't ask about it either, unless it's something that they somehow took out. Bye, Genuine. Yeah, I think after today, unless something else comes out, I think I'm going to, oh yeah, the Dr. Phil thing, but I still feel Dr. Phil on Monday, it's just going to be him just getting the parents' reactions to what the agents um, told us. I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch them get, I mean, obviously they're going to be upset. I don't know if I want to watch them be upset again. And to hear them, like to see their reactions as they're talking about all this information. Is there more, or was it all, or was that it all today? I feel like that was it. I mean, when I put the files into the program to clean up the audio, it only came out to 3 hours, 20 minutes, 53 seconds. So, I mean, it wasn't 5 hours. Isn't there a second part to this? What I see online, like when I was looking at YouTube earlier, I saw people, with part 1 and part 2. But my file has both of them together. So I don't know. I mean, when I listened to, because I was listening through pieces of it at first, the things were very clear where they just said, well, thank you so much for talking to us. They did take a lunch break. So maybe that's like the missing, maybe on the log to go see Chris, it shows a 5-hour window, which includes the lunch break. But really the audio is only, obviously the times they weren't on lunch. Yeah. Bye, Genuine. Oh, thank you guys for the support. You guys are amazing. Every time I've said this before, that doing the live really makes me nervous. Being that it's my 3rd live, I'm definitely less nervous than I was before, and you guys are so kind every time I talk to you all. And I'm really happy that I found a group of people that are just kind-hearted and respectful to each other, because I was really nervous about even getting back into YouTube, because when you put yourself out there, people can kind of say whatever they want to say, and some of those things can be really nice, and some of those things can be really mean. But I just want to tell you that you guys are all so amazing. Thank you. Yeah, the lunch break, the bathroom, all that stuff. All things cat attack. Yeah, I definitely want to keep it to being a calm site. I do watch other channels, but once it starts to get really like a lot of drama, I can't. It makes me feel stressed. Like I feel the stress through the video, and I end up going elsewhere. Because you recognize this now? Yeah, that's probably it. And I also, I clicked on y'all's profiles and checked out some of y'all's videos. It is definitely easier to see who's new and who's... Why do you think they told him the pic and interview wasn't going to get out, but they released everything? Didn't he say not to tell anybody until he was ready to tell his family? And so I assume maybe he told it. I mean, he said he wasn't going to tell them until May and April. Obviously, it's a month early, but maybe he told them already. There could have been, oh, I don't know. I was going to say there also could have been pressure from, just the media and people talking about the case, and saying, look, do you want to clear Shanann's name? Do you want to come out and tell the truth? Maybe that kind of also led them to release this interview. Pressure from Shanann's attorneys. Oh, it wasn't supposed to go. But this is the thing. They don't really release this stuff to social media. What happens is that people request the files, and then, like, even Chris said it, you know, reporters and news stations requesting interviews and requesting this and that. If they're requesting interviews from him and they're not getting what they're looking for, then they're going to go and request the files from the police department or from the detective bureau. And then they kind of have to give it to them, because what I think I said this yesterday, it's called like the freedom of information or something like that. I can't remember the legal term, but you can request it and you pay a certain amount, and then you have the data, the right to know or whatever act. He didn't even say he missed them and loved them, nothing. Yeah, I don't remember him saying that he missed anybody, except for NK wanting to talk to her and hear her voice. And did you notice that that was the only time when he was like, I would hope she would not contact me. Kind of like how he was during his interview with the news. Yeah. It's heartbreaking they didn't mean anything to him. No, they were almost like just things that were in the way, like objects, easily dismissed in his brain. Oh, thanks, LV. The smaller group is nice. I still just can't believe that even... When did they really do that interview? In February? So, 6 months? August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, 6 months still, and supposedly she hasn't written him, and he's still thinking about her? Like, he's not living in reality. Yeah, when he asked about NK and that his attorney left his card at her door 5 times, he must have really been obsessively asking them, you know, try to see if she'll talk. I just want to say I'm sorry. He just lunacy. Yeah, that's what I felt, Linda, whenever he was like, you know, unless she's been contacting me through an anonymous name. Like, are you kidding me? He did cry about him murdering Bella, yeah. But did he cry when he was actually murdering her? Not. No, even when he was talking about it, or at least when I was reading the transcript as well, like it was, it just seemed so cold. She asked me if she's going where Cece is, and I probably stupidly said yes. I mean, those are the type of things that are just burned in your brain. Unreal subliminal messages. Today's episode? What do you mean today's episode? Today's episode of what? Somewhat secret. Anna name. He must look for her in all the letters. I thought there was a part 2 to Dr. That's on the 11th. On Monday. The part 2 for Dr. Phil. He seemed okay with prison life, which is bizarre. Yeah, he's peachy. You know, it's the start of his new life and he's happy with it, I guess, or he's content with it. I mean, even when, before I even listened to the audio and before I even read the transcript, I saw the picture and I was like, is he, like, it almost looks like he's smiling. Like he's like, he doesn't seem, I don't know. I expected to see like dark circles and whatnot and, you know, see that he's. I'm back. What is this? The fourth time? The fourth time it's gone out? I wonder if there's a time limit because I feel like every 30 minutes, about every 30 minutes it goes out. Can you hear me? Or am I talking to myself again? My goodness. Yes, thank you, Guitar Girly. But yeah, in the picture, it seemed like he was very content. And he seemed like he was relaxed. You know, he didn't look stressed out. He didn't look like he aged. And sometimes when you see some of these people who have committed crimes, they, you know, they look for the murder and then you see them at trials and whatnot. And they have definitely like grayed or they've lost hair or they've lost a lot of weight. You know, he just looks like he's visiting prison. Like he's at a hotel. Isn't that what you guys said earlier? Yeah, like he's at a hotel. When he said he's going to work in the kitchen, I thought, bad choice, mate. Yeah, that is, because they have those sharp objects. Maybe they're setting him up to fail. Like it's amusing to him, yeah. I don't know how he didn't even go into this interview nervous. How did he go in? He just seemed like his demeanor was, I don't know, maybe he accepted what he did. I don't know. Like he's already forgiven himself when, like, how could he? Or how dare he? Did you also notice in the beginning of the interview, he said he doesn't know how long it's going to take for his parents. Like, he doesn't know how long it's going to last with his parents giving him money. But he just accepts money from all sorts of people. Did you guys catch that? He's chuffed with himself. I like the way you wrote that. Yeah, he's moved on. Looking forward to working. And it also seemed like he was, when he was talking about the letters in the mail, and the ones that he chooses to read and which ones he doesn't choose to read, as if he was encouraging people to write him. Well, I have this one woman who's going through a difficult relationship and she wants to ask me how to get out of it and this and that. Like he really thinks he is changing lives from prison. Like he can change people's perception of him. And he's not medicated. Yeah, he said he claims he's refusing the medicine. When I was watching that 60 days locked in thing, we'll see how long it lasts, because when I was watching that 60 days locked in, they were saying that, you know, the abuse of prescription pills is crazy in prison because there's nothing else to do. Yeah, again with the subliminal messages. And yeah, Guitar Girly, it's too soon for him to be acting like everything is, you know, a walk in the park, a normal day. Grandiose for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy leading crazy do as crazy does. Oh my god, that was a tongue twister. Crazy leading crazy do as crazy does. I hope everybody who's in here reads that comment by Linda out loud. Try it. Alright, y'all. I have an early day in the morning. Yes, Linda, he's gonna have fans. You know, all these high-profile cases, you know it too, Linda, that all of them, they have those fans that are just, like, why would you be contacting them? Or those people who propose marriage, like, that's... Oh, did you guys, before I leave, but did you guys see in there that they asked him, are you ever gonna find love again? Or would you ever want to be in love again? And he was like, no. He doesn't think that he'd ever fall in love again. Hey, Jess. That's what we were talking about earlier, is that we don't think that he divulged all the information about the argument and leading up to the attacks. Like, he withheld key details there. He's in the honeymoon phase of this whole thing. It happened so fast, and he's getting fan mail and visits from the FBI. You know what? You're right, because in a couple of years, when people stop, you know, writing him and they start to forget who he is, you know, the money and the letters will eventually stop. And then he'll be left to really, really be thinking about himself and what he's done. But you're absolutely correct. But yeah, I'm going to have to get going. I got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had a long day tomorrow. But I'm going to get started putting my next video together on Matthew Podolak. I hope that you look into the case, because it's an interesting one, and it's kind of a mystery, even though somebody has been convicted. But if you haven't heard about it, I suggest you go look it up, as well as the Susan Powell case. Please, please, please go and Google the what's that thing called? Podcast. Please go on and Google the podcast Cold, because it's a good one to listen to. Spell. What does that mean, spell? I hope he withers away. Oh, sleep well. Is that what you meant? The name spell? Of what? The name of what, though? Rich, I'm about to get off, so. Buy Somewhat Secret. Matthew Podolak. Thanks for the live. Yeah, but it's with an A. How do you spell it? And hold on, let me put in the link to the podcast. Go check that out if you're looking for another type of crime, a crime thing to listen to. He's so cranky in the back. I can't even right now. But thank you all so much, and I will talk to you guys soon. Alright, bye. Oh, I have to shut it off from here. What was the other name? Susan Powell. Alright. See ya. I'm really leaving now. Bye.